Hello everybody, it's Monday, October 5th. I'd like to read from the Gospel of Luke. And here we read, chapter 10, 25 to 37. There was a scholar of the law who stood up to test Jesus and said, "Teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" Jesus said to him, "What is written in the law? How do you read it?" He said and replied, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your being, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself." He replied to him, "You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live." But because he wished to justify himself, he said to Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" And Jesus replied, "A man fell victim to robbers as he went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. They stripped, beat him, and went off, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down that road, but when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. Likewise, a Levite came to the place, and when he saw him, he passed by on the opposite side. But a Samaritan traveler who came upon him was moved with compassion at the sight. He approached the victim, poured oil and wine over his wounds and bandaged them. Then he lifted him up on his own animal, took him into an inn and cared for him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper with the instruction, "Take care of him. If you spend more than what I have given you, I shall repay you on my way back." Which of these 3, in your opinion, was neighbor to the robber victims? The one who treated him with mercy. Jesus said to him, "Go and do likewise." And the great famous renowned parable of the Good Samaritan. In fact, we still attribute that title to anyone who does something for someone else, particularly if you didn't know the person, or extraordinary kindness. Oh, he's being a good Samaritan, right? Interesting how this whole gospel begins. And this lawyer, actually he's a lawyer, scholar of the law, which is a lawyer, he asked Jesus a question. What must I do to inherit eternal life? And the guy probably knew the answer. I think he knew what Jesus was going to respond. Love the Lord your God, love your neighbor. And he said, "Well, I've been doing that my whole life." And then he goes and asks, "Well, who is my neighbor?" You know what a good lawyer knows? Never ask a question unless you know the answer to it. Right? You want to watch these law shows. You never ask a question unless you know the answer, because you don't want to have any surprises and be caught off guard. And now this guy's caught off guard. Whoops! Now he's the one, And yet the interesting thing about this is that Jesus really didn't answer the question. It wasn't, what do I need to do to be neighborly? It's, who is my neighbor? And there was no answer, who is, it's, how do you be neighborly? I just came in contact on Facebook, actually it's a picture of a kid in my building, Sammy. We grew up in the same building there in New York City, and I hadn't seen him in 50-something years. It's crazy, isn't it? All of a sudden, another Facebook page of another guy from my neighborhood, he went and visited him. And he took a picture. I said, "Oh my gosh, there he is. I haven't seen him like in, say, 55 years or so, whatever it is, 50 plus years." And so I got all excited and I looked up, and then I found out that, a couple of years ago, he was in a terrible accident while on his motorcycle. The craziest thing seemed to happen that he lives down by Fort Myers, by the way, and all of a sudden this tire came over the other side of the interstate, came on this road and hit him on the motorcycle. He was able to keep it steady, but then he crashed, and his right arm was almost torn off, the bleeding. He said someone came up who saw the accident. Not only did not even call 911, but put Sammy in his car and drove him to the hospital. And then he brought him to the emergency room and he left. Anyway, they had a film of this on the news. Unfortunately, it didn't play, but it had a little caption. But he's trying to find out who was this person who did this for him. He said, "This day and age, someone actually came and stopped, and then she took me to the hospital." And he goes, "I want to know who this person is. I want to thank them." But as far as I know, he hasn't found that person. So there are some good Samaritans, and we're challenged as well. I'm just thinking, would you put somebody bloody in your car? There goes your upholstery. Just selfishly thinking that, but the person didn't think that. Just get this person to the hospital. I'm sure it created a mess in his car that would cost some money to get cleaned. What kindness. So I hope that we can be a good Samaritan to others. going out of our way to be a blessing to those in need. God bless you.